Hey friends, welcome to this week's episode of Not Your Mama's podcast. And our special guest today is Tracy Repchuk, a renowned leadership legacy architect, 9-time bestseller and speaker recognized by Forbes. Tracy specializes in helping individuals monetize their missions, reach millions with their messages, and build seven-figure legacies. Tracy, it's such an honor to have you on. I'm excited to dive into the episode today. So, with your extensive experience, what inspired you to help others discover their divine mission, and how can our audience begin their journey toward finding their own unique purpose in life?
Well, what started the whole thing was at the age of 3, I was actually hit by a car. I had a near-death experience, exited the body, and returned. So I've known really young what my purpose and mission was. And I've really been almost running and executing that for as long as I can remember. And so, that's really where it happened and why I began the journey of course, to help women. I became a pioneer for women. I was in industries like software and internet and computer programming and accounting and all of these places, these touch points to where I could hopefully get more women into them. And then, of course, they could fulfill their destiny. That's my whole thing, as you said, to attract their divine message and to come together with their purpose-driven goals so they can create that positive impact and fulfill your mission as well. Because I truly believe that we were all sent here for a reason. And it's really our job to kind of know we're on a mission, know we have a purpose, and really to then turn around that only you can do. So that's pretty well, it became my driving force. And when how does somebody find it? There's often 4 places that they can locate it, and this really becomes at those legacy moments for people where somebody says, or they're successful already, right? And they're like, oh, this is great, but they're not quite satisfied, and so they're looking for that higher purpose, that reason why they're here. That's the place where I deal with it.
Yeah. And, I think part of the way of doing that, and I think you've mentioned this before, is aligning activities with the purpose-driven goals. So could you provide some practical steps that our listeners can take to make this alignment more achievable in their daily lives?
So step 1 is you have to know what that is, right? When you have that overarching, I'll call it goal, and let's just set a goal for a year for simplicity. Let's say your goal is I'm an entrepreneur and I want to make 6 figures this year. Then how you align your activities towards that is income generating activities that either pull in a lead or help you to convert, right?
Yeah.
And what starts to happen with most people is, again, I've been in business almost 40 years now, is that they get distracted by the noise, the opportunities, because there's thousands of them, the social media. Should I be on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok? All of these things are coming at them. And that's why it's really, really important to be uber focused on one goal, solving one problem, creating one program with one lead generation mechanism in place, so that you can have one target market and stay focused. That's the formula right there.
Yeah. Because we can get overwhelmed with all these different applications and tools and outlets. And it's like, this is the new thing to do. And then this is the new thing. And it's hard to keep up, and it can become overwhelming. And then next thing you know, you're just saturated with people. And I think, it is important to kind of generate and think about what's going to be your best form of action. You know what I mean? Like maybe Instagram might be a little bit better, TikTok, whichever, and double down on those digital resource marketing things. So, building like a 7-figure life legacy, that's an impressive goal. A lot of people, want to reach and inspire to that when they start a business. What strategies do you recommend for women looking to create a financial legacy while maintaining like that work-life balance harmony?
Yeah, the first place it starts is with establishing what your ideal scene is, right? What do you want your legacy life to look like? And this is where my journey began, especially when it came to kids.
Yeah.
So, 1994, found out I was pregnant, and I was like, okay, family first,
Yeah.
but I can't let go of my mission, right? Which was still empowering women. So I moved myself to a home office. And, this is way before there was ever, remote offices. And so that led to step after step of kind of these actions that would lead to the ideal scene. It meant bringing my husband home. It meant actually our kids were ultimately schooled from the home, not by me, but by online schools. And we're going back 2 decades almost now, right? Well before online schools and COVID forced a situation, because I was traveling around speaking in 39 countries and I wanted them with me.
Yeah.
And so that was part of that ideal scene of what do you want your life to look like? So that's where it begins. And then your actions and decisions from that point all have to align to that. So you can't say yes to some things because they'll completely derail you from your ultimate decision. And this is why it's so important to have that and to stay focused on it. And that, of course, then is just step one.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And and I think it's smart to be creative and like adaptable to the things that you want, like why does it have to be one thing and not the other? Like, why can't we have it all? Like how you said, like, you're like,
Yeah.
I want my kids with me, but
Yeah.
I have a mission and I'm speaking and I'm going to make it work to where I can still be, a part of them and not miss the little things that I don't, you know what I mean? Don't want to miss the little moments.
Yeah, well, because we pulled them to online school so they could travel with me. We were on the road for months at a time. They would just log into internet school and do their coursework, do their class, and we'd be over in Australia for a month. And so it didn't matter where we were. And we were together and we were doing, what we wanted. They were experiencing cultures and travel. And we had an unbelievable family harmony of my 3 kids, my husband and myself. And again, all by design.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's the best form of education for children too, is like actually going out there in the real world and seeing different cultures and things like that. It's very enriching for them. So, I mean, if anything, they're winning, to have that cool experience in life, because not many kids get to have that.
Yeah.
So, kind of really back to like business and kind of, thinking about like automation, which I think is something that is very helpful, especially for busy working moms. And it is crucial in today's world. How can busy mothers effectively implement the automation process in their businesses and ventures to make their lives more manageable?
Yeah, I think you need to start early on, putting structure in the business, because when it grows and you're trying to backpedal, it's obviously a harder thing. And what's great is when you're documenting something as you go along, it makes it a more rapid way to hand off. Like, you can't hand off things to a virtual assistant or staff members if they don't know how to do it exactly the way that was successful for you. And so that's kind of, one of the things that I teach early on is let's get the structure in now. The other way we get in structure, though, is to keep it simple. People start off and they say, I need a brand, and I need a website, and I need a landing page, and I need a funnel, and it has to have 14 of this, and no, let's just make it super simple. In my coaching program, for example, we don't need any of that. I just need an offer. And then I need you to get someone on the phone and show that offer to them. And then you're going to build it later, right? You get paid to build everything that you're building, simply because that's the less overwhelming way. And then when you need memberships sites, or then when you need a fancy website because you're off speaking now or whatever it is, that all was funded instead of, constantly, created and bootstrapped from really also not having that specific goal in mind. I'd rather you put in the scaling and the documenting before you go, running down and putting together a 30 email nurture campaign.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it makes sense because, I think a lot of people think immediately they need to have the website and the presence and everything like that. But it's like, most likely you're financing it yourself. You don't have the money to like create it for what you've made. So I think it's important for you to like take a step back, find the sale first, build it, and it will come, type of mentality.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of times too, like what I do with my clients is we build an offer on a piece of paper. And if you can't sell that offer from a piece of paper, you're not going to sell it online. The two don't equate. Magical little fairies aren't coming to your website to buy this thing, right?
Yeah.
And so when you can sell it in first like this, then you know exactly what will translate online at that moment. And to me, it's almost a reversal. It's back to my old school days, right? In 1985, there was no internet when I started my company at the age of 19.
Yeah.
And everything we did was door to door or the yellow pages. That's all we had. And so now we've gone so far to automation will handle everything. And in fact, let's just chat GPT write up this lovely little sales page for me, and voila, I'm going to be selling.
Yeah.
And so it kind of gives a lot of people the illusion that they're selling and they're active and they're working, and then they're not making any money. And so I actually old school it first and then roll out the automation.
No, I think that's a great concept. And can you share some key lessons from your own personal experiences that women, especially mothers, can apply to their legacy, while they're creating their family legacy?
Key lessons. Wow. I mean, there's just so many. I think especially if you've got, like, we had 3 kids at our feet at all times, pretty much in those very early toddler years, right? So I think really learning to work around them, so our majority of our work sometimes happened after 8 p.m. when they'd gone to bed. And so it's okay to be unconventional in the way that you structure your business, because heck, if you have to get clients in Australia, it doesn't have to be here in a certain time zone when the kids are active, whatever it is, right? So I think that the key is to be flexible in how you're going to put it together while especially you have kids. And of course, if you're beyond and you don't have to have them at your feet anymore, like, they're teens or they're a little older and you have that deeper freedom, that's when you really just double down all you can. I mean, I think one of the greatest things I ever did, and I've done it my entire life now, and that's get a mentor, right? A coach. I used to put them on credit card and then work what they told me to do and pay off the credit card and then get the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one, to really ensure that you don't go stagnant, because you can't read the label from inside the jar. And so you don't know how to pull out that thing that's unique about you. And sometimes you don't know how to find that right fit client and really get that niche going or what to say. And so, remember, you are not an island, right? It will take a team.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you do need a team. And sometimes people think that they can do it all themselves. But even through my experience, with my podcast, having a team has been like a tremendous help, because then I can focus on other things that are important to build and grow what I need to grow. So Tracy, before we dive into my 4 questions, is there anything else you'd like to add on top of our conversation today?
Nothing specific. I mean, really just, I'd love to connect with anybody that is looking to build that legacy life, or even needs guidance, whatever it is, I'm here to help.
And what's the best way for people to reach out to you?
You can put my name into any social media platform. So if you love LinkedIn, meet me on LinkedIn. If you love Instagram, meet me on Instagram. But for generic, if you go to legacylifequiz.com, it's a really great place to determine, should your focus right now be on income, influence, impact, or freedom? And it helps you to map out your legacy life, and really get you started. And then you can reach out to me when you're ready.
Oh, I love that. Well, Tracy, I am excited to dive into my 4 questions today. And my first one to you is who and what inspires you?
Who or what inspires me? It really comes down to following women, honestly, who made a difference. I'm constantly tracking that way. I mean, obviously, in the earlier years, Oprah was an inspiration for so many. But there have been, all it takes is for me to see a latest movie that just came out about that woman, a woman swimmer, right?
Yeah.
I love anything that really is about somebody taking what they have, being confident, being determined, accomplishing that goal, and then helping others along the way. And so that's really, it's never one specific person. It's almost the genre.
Yeah. 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 The story of their life and how they persevere and like the
Yeah.
strengths and things like that. No, I love
Yeah.
that. It's not one thing. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm constantly seeking, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm like a bit like a bee, right? Oh my God, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. This is great.
No, great answer. Okay. So my second question is, what's the essential part of your daily routine?
Definitely, the thing that I start off with, it's just a little practice that I do in the morning. And it's about removing doubt, and it's about removing barriers of my thought patterns that could prevent me from having the best day possible. So really I've started doing that. Historically, I actually used to listen to like a YouTube video. Not like something simple, right? About money and, kind of
like
realizing
positive
it's an
affirmations, like get it going.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. A little bit like that. And now I'm on a pattern right now of just kind of doing this little activity in the morning, and I'm loving it. So I think that's the biggest thing, is find something to start your day that doesn't turn it into chaos the whole time. And if it does, take the moment, step back, and kind of reground yourself before you, completely drill yourself into the ground.
Yeah. Great advice. And then what is something you wished you knew when you were younger?
Something I wished I knew when I was younger. I mean, I've really been driven my whole time, and I would say like the best advice I got was one of my teachers saying you should be an entrepreneur, and I didn't even know what that was when I was about to graduate from college. And then as far as like best advice, I think one of the, I'll call it mantras that I do operate from is you don't have to get it right. You just have to get it going. And as somebody who, I won't call myself a perfectionist, but somehow I've been a bit labeled like that. I have to watch wanting everything to be just so, and being okay with it being good enough, because it's like a raging river, especially being in the technology field like I have been. I started a software company at the age of 19. I've been in technology and the internet as a pioneer, and social media as a pioneer, and now ChatGPT is a pioneer. And so it moves so quickly all the time that there isn't a moment where you can say this is perfect, because honestly, it just will never be.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to give ourselves grace and know that it's not going to be perfect, and it's a learning journey, and we have to be flexible and adaptable to what is going to work for us in the long run.
Yeah.
Well, Tracy, thank you so much for coming on this week's episode of Not Your Mama's Podcast. All of her links are down below in the show notes. Don't be shy, go say hi, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.